Caitlin Clark just made a decision that has the WNBA sweating bullets. Dave Portnoy extended an invitation to his massive Internet Invitational golf tournament, and Clark said yes. This isn't some small charity event with a few thousand viewers. We're talking about a tournament that pulls 20 to 25 million views and a potential $10 million prize pool. While the WNBA fumbles around trying to figure out how to market their biggest star, Portnoy already locked her in for next year. The panic in league offices is absolutely real right now. Here's what I want to know. Should Caitlin Clark keep building her brand outside basketball, or should she focus entirely on the WNBA? Drop your thoughts below. Let's break down exactly what happened here because the implications are bigger than most people realize. Dave Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports and someone who genuinely doesn't care whose feathers he ruffles, has been building his Internet Invitational into something massive. This isn't your typical celebrity golf scramble where people show up, hack around, and call it charity work. Portnoy teamed up with Bob Doe's Sports, a golf content creator with ridiculous reach, and together they've created an event that generates viewership numbers most sports leagues would kill for. When Portnoy was asked about next year's tournament and whether he's already planning to expand it, his answer was immediate. Every year. Not maybe, not we'll see how it goes. Every year. And then he dropped the bombshell that should have WNBA executives reaching for antacids. He's invited 2 people so far and both said yes. Caitlin Clark and Kaya Trump. Now, Portnoy was honest about it. He doesn't know how serious those yeses are or whether schedules will actually align when push comes to shove. But the fact that Clark said yes at all tells you everything about where her head is at regarding brand building. The prize pool Portnoy wants for next year is $10 million. $10 million for a golf tournament featuring internet personalities, athletes, and celebrities. And here's the thing that should terrify the WNBA. If Caitlin Clark commits and actually shows up, sponsors will be falling over themselves to throw money at this event. Her presence alone guarantees massive viewership, massive engagement, and massive media coverage. The same presence the WNBA seems determined to undervalue at every possible opportunity. This whole situation started at the Annika Pro-Am, where Clark participated alongside other celebrities at Pelican Golf Club. We covered that event extensively. How Clark broke attendance and viewership records, how the LPGA treated her like royalty while rolling out the red carpet, and how the contrast with the WNBA's treatment of their biggest star couldn't have been more obvious. Well, Portnoy was paying attention. He saw those numbers. He saw that energy. And he moved fast to secure Clark for his own event before anyone else could. The beauty of Portnoy's approach is that he understands something the WNBA apparently can't grasp. You don't wait for stars to come to you. You pursue them aggressively, offer them platforms that match their value, and make them feel appreciated. The WNBA spent 2 years letting Clark get physically beaten up on the court, while offering minimal protection and lukewarm marketing support. Portnoy watched one golf appearance and immediately said, "I want her at my event next year." That's the difference between organizations that understand star power and ones that take it for granted. Now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham, because her involvement in all this adds another fascinating layer. Sophie served as a celebrity caddy at the Annika Pro-Am, alongside Lexi Hull, and something interesting happened during that event. People noticed her golf swing. For someone who claimed she doesn't really play, Sophie showed natural ability that caught attention. And now she's making moves to develop that potential. On her podcast, Show Me Something, which she hosts with reality TV star Wes Wilson, Sophie made an announcement that connects directly to Clark's golf trajectory. She said she thinks she has real potential in golf and plans to start playing more seriously. Her exact words were that her getaway has always been the pool and the beach, while Clark's getaway is golf. But after their experience at the Annika, Sophie wants in on that action too. Here's the quote that matters. "I think me, her, and Lexi are going to go and play a little bit more. Because we had fun, we had a blast. It was so nice, just a completely different vibe than basketball. It was cool. That's 3 Indiana Fever teammates bonding over golf during the off-season, building chemistry outside the pressure of basketball, and potentially creating content opportunities that extend their brands far beyond the WNBA's limited reach." Sophie's podcast situation is interesting too. There was apparently some discussion about bringing her show to Barstool Sports, where Portnoy could have added her to his media empire. But something about her existing commitments prevented that deal from happening, and the podcast ended up on Colin Cowherd's network, The Volume. Still a solid platform, but imagine if Sophie had landed at Barstool. The crossover between her content, Portnoy's golf tournament, and Clark's growing golf presence could have created something massive. The connection between all these pieces shows you how athlete brand building works in 2024 and beyond. It's not about staying in your lane and hoping your league markets you properly. It's about creating multiple revenue streams, building relationships across different industries, and positioning yourself where opportunities emerge. Clark gets this instinctively. Sophie is figuring it out. And the WNBA is watching from the sidelines, wondering why their players keep finding success outside league-controlled events. Speaking of success outside the WNBA, let's put Portnoy's viewership numbers in perspective. He mentioned that the Internet Invitational pulled around 20 to 25 million views in roughly a month. The math here is brutal for the WNBA. Their biggest star generates more buzz playing golf with a Barstool Sports founder than she does playing actual basketball in their league. That's not Clark's fault. That's a marketing failure of epic proportions. The WNBA had a generational talent land in their lap, someone who drew record crowds in college and brought unprecedented attention to women's basketball. And they responded by letting opposing players target her physically, while the league office issued weak statements about competitive play. Meanwhile, Portnoy sees Clark at one golf event and immediately locks her in for his tournament. The LPGA sees her at one Pro-Am and treats her like the golden goose she is. Every organization outside the WNBA seems to understand Clark's value better than the league she actually plays in. That's embarrassing, and it should worry every WNBA executive who cares about the league's long-term viability. Now, some people might argue that Clark should focus entirely on basketball during her career and save the brand building for retirement. Those people don't understand how modern athlete careers work. Playing windows are short, injuries happen, public attention is fickle. You build your brand when you're hot, when people care, when opportunities present themselves. Clark is hot right now. People care about her right now. Opportunities are presenting themselves right now. Waiting would be foolish. The golf angle specifically makes sense for several reasons. First, it's a sport with massive crossover appeal among the demographic that sponsors pay premium dollars to reach. Second, it's low injury risk compared to basketball, so Clark can participate without endangering her primary career. Third, it creates content opportunities that extend her visibility into new audiences. Fourth, it builds relationships with power players in media and business who can open doors basketball never would. Fifth, it's something she genuinely enjoys, which means her participation comes across as authentic rather than forced. That authenticity matters more than people realize. When athletes do brand partnerships or event appearances that feel inauthentic, audiences pick up on it immediately. Clark's golf involvement feels genuine because she actually loves the sport. She's been playing for years. She's legitimately good at it, and her enjoyment is obvious when she's on the course. That authenticity translates into engagement that brands can't manufacture artificially. Sophie Cunningham figuring this out alongside Clark creates interesting possibilities for the Fever as a team brand. 3 teammates bonding over golf, creating content together, building chemistry outside basketball, that's the kind of organic team culture that wins championships and attracts fans. Other WNBA teams should be studying what Indiana is building and asking why their players aren't creating similar opportunities. The Portnoy invitation also signals something about Clark's growing power in the sports media landscape. Dave Portnoy doesn't invite people to his events because he needs them. He invites them because they add value. His invitation to Clark acknowledges that she's become one of the most valuable names in sports. Period. Not women's sports. Sports. The distinction matters because it shows Clark has transcended the limiting labels that organizations try to put on female athletes. When Portnoy talks about building a $10 million prize pool for next year, he's not dreaming. He's calculating. He knows that Clark's participation guarantees sponsor interest at levels that justify that prize money. He knows the viewership numbers will explode if she shows up. He knows media coverage will be wall-to-wall because everything Clark does generates headlines. He's not doing her a favor by inviting her. He's making a business decision that benefits both parties. That mutual benefit aspect is what the WNBA fails to understand. Their relationship with Clark should be mutually beneficial. She brings eyeballs, attendance, and revenue. They should provide protection, marketing support, and compensation that reflects her value. Instead, the relationship has felt one-sided, with Clark providing massive value while the league offers minimal return. Other organizations see that imbalance and position themselves to capture the value the WNBA leaves on the table. The free agency implications here are worth considering too. Sophie Cunningham faces a big decision soon about her playing future. If she's building off-season businesses and brand opportunities tied to her Fever teammates, that creates incentive to stay in Indiana beyond just basketball considerations. Players increasingly make decisions based on total opportunity, not just contracts. The Fever organization offering an environment where players can build brands alongside their basketball careers becomes a recruiting advantage. This brings us back to the central point. Caitlin Clark saying yes to Dave Portnoy's invitation represents another example of her building value outside WNBA control. She's not waiting for the league to properly market her. She's not hoping they'll eventually recognize her worth. She's creating opportunities independently, partnering with people who understand her value, and building a brand that will thrive regardless of what the WNBA does or doesn't do. The panic in league offices should be real. Not because Clark attending a golf tournament hurts them directly, but because it demonstrates how easily their biggest star can generate massive engagement without them. Every successful brand move Clark makes outside the WNBA is a reminder of the opportunity cost the league suffers by undervaluing her. Every record she breaks at golf events is a headline that could have been about basketball if the league had handled things differently. Portnoy proved something important with this invitation. The market for Caitlin Clark extends far beyond basketball, far beyond women's sports, far beyond anything the WNBA has imagined, and he's willing to pay premium dollars to access that market while the WNBA argues about salary caps and collective bargaining agreements. Clark said yes to Portnoy because she understands what the WNBA refuses to accept. Her value extends beyond basketball, and smart partners will pay to access it. While the league debates how to handle their golden goose, everyone else is lining up to work with her. Portnoy locked her in with one conversation.